Hello all, welcome to Linguistic Scholars YouTube channel. As part of our lecture series on phonetics and phonology, today we are going to look at one of the suprasegmental features, that is nothing but stress. In our next classes, we are going to look at other suprasegmental features such as tone, intonation, length, juncture, and pitch. So today we are looking at one of the suprasegmental feature, that is stress, and the next lectures will be on the other suprasegmental features. So don't forget to take notes by just copying the content from the slides so that it becomes very easy for you to revise before any exam or interview. So we will first try to understand what is suprasegmental features. Suprasegmental features are aspects of pronunciation or aspects of pronunciation that affect more than just one sound segment. So it is clear that suprasegmental features are not at the level of segment but higher than the level of segment. It is more than just one segment. Includes stress, tone, intonation, length, juncture, other features which are recently proposed, which are basically musical aspects of pronunciation. So if above the level of segments and contribute to the musical aspect of pronunciation. So it's just a simple definition of suprasegmental features. Now we will try to understand what is stress. So stress is a relative emphasis given to certain syllables in a word or a certain words in a phrase or sentences. But we are not going to look at the level of phrases and sentences here. We are strictly restricted ourselves to look at the level of word. Let's say here, as you can see, water, doctor. Here in the word water, there are two syllables, wa and ter, right? So when you are pronouncing, basically you are giving a relative emphasis to the syllable wa than the ter. Okay, so the syllable wa takes the stress out of these two syllables. So the wa as marked with the stress by a superscript. Okay, by a superscript. And similarly, a doctor, here the stress falls on the first syllable as well. Okay, there are two syllables in the word a doctor and the stress falls on the doc. Okay, it means that the first syllable has the high emphasis. Okay, what I mean is you are giving extra amount of energy while producing the wa, and then relatively lesser energy for the char. And similar with the doctor, you have given a relative extra amount of energy for doc and the less energy for ter. Okay, so this how is the energy or the amount of energy that you are giving for the production of the syllables in the words. So applies not to individual segment, as I already mentioned. It is applies to the whole syllable. It is applied to the whole syllable, and it is pronounced with a greater amount of energy relatively. Okay, it is produced with a greater amount of energy, and syllables that base the main stress known as primary stress indicated by superscript at the beginning of the relevant syllable. Here, as you can see, the word understand has 3 syllables. It is clear. Here, as you can pronounce it, you easily find out that un has a some stress level, but der has a relatively less amount of energy that you are using, and then for the stand you're using more energy. Okay, so energy is consumed more by stand and then by un, and at the end by der. So the primary stress falls under stand. So it is the primary stress, and this, which takes a relatively higher energy than der and lesser energy than stand, takes a secondary stress, which is marked by the subscript. Okay, we will look one more example. It will become clear for you. Here, which base less than the primary stress, called secondary stress, indicated by a subscript. As I have given another example here with the 3 syllables. The word has 3 syllables, as you can see here. Here, as you can see, that this, okay, appear. So appear has a higher level of energy, requires a higher energy to produce, followed by this and followed by a. So the primary stress marked on appear with a superscript, and the secondary stress falls on this, which is marked by a subscript. Okay, this is all about stress, primary stress and secondary stress. Now, one more important concept that relates to the stress is foot. Foot is basically made up of syllables followed by one or more unstressed syllables. So, as you can see here, there is a wallaby. Okay, what's a word called wallaby? It consists of 3 syllables, right? As I have divided with the full stop. So the stress falls on the first syllable. Okay, the stress falls on the first syllable. So it is, the stress is on the left and right, on the left syllable. As a result, it is called as left-handed foot. Okay, which is a syllable which takes the stress and followed by one or more unstressed syllables, right? As you can clearly see that. So wallaby has marked as the first syllable has taken the stress. Okay, that is on the left side of the word. So it is called as left-handed foot or troch. Okay, in the word crocodile has similarly 3 syllables, and the stress is more on dial. The primary stress is on dial. As a result, it is marked on the right side syllables of the word. As a result, it is called as right-handed foot and lamb. Okay, so these are the 2 types of foots: left-handed foot, right-handed foot. Okay, when there is a stress, there is a syllable that are followed by one or more unstressed syllables, not only followed or preceded by a one or more unstressed syllables. What about the case where there is an alternative stressed and unstressed syllables? Here, as you can see, the alternative pattern of stressed syllable followed by the unstressed syllable in the word is known as arrhythmy. It means that the stressed syllable comes first and then unstressed, and then stressed syllable and unstressed. So alternative pattern of stressed and the unstressed syllables is known as arrhythmy. Okay, here one thing we need to very important is that English is usually considered to have only track feet, which is nothing but left-handed foot, but English do have right-handed foot, as you can see here in the word a crocodile. Okay, but it is important that because they can ask in the examination. Okay, but relatively mostly found in left-handed foods in English rather than the right-handed foods. So this is for today's video on stress. In the next video we are going to talk about tone and intonation, and next video we are going to come up with a length and a junction along with the test and intonation. To understand it, it is important to understand the concept of pitch. So please subscribe to our channel Linguistic Scholars for more interesting videos in linguistics and applied linguistics. If you have any query, you can write to us netjrfscholars@gmail.com. Thank you.